Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Megan Dowling, and thanks for tuning in to my Healthy Families Facebook Live video series, where I'm dedicated to bringing you important research-based, unbiased information to keep you and your families happy and healthy. So this week in my practice, a patient was asking me about switching her 1-year-old to cow's milk because she was about to stop breastfeeding. And she wanted to know if this was safe to do or if there are any better alternatives out there. And this is a great topic to talk about this week because many parents aren't aware of the problem that babies and children can have with dairy. And to keep in mind that it's not just with babies, but for older children as well. So when babies are born, it's recognized that their guts are essentially leaky for about the first 6 months of life. And some studies have actually found that this leakiness persists for up to 2 years. So when we say leaky gut, if you're not familiar with that term, it means that the junctions of the intestinal cells are wider than they are in the normal mature gut. So because they're wider, big food proteins can be absorbed more easily into the infant's bloodstream. And this is important, especially for infants, because they're more easily able to digest the large proteins that are found in mother's milk, and because of that, they can gain weight more rapidly. So interestingly, researchers have found that infants that are fed a cow's milk formula, which is the standard formula, have a leakier gut for a longer period of time compared to babies that are just breastfed. And they think that this is the case because of the inflammatory response associated with dairy in young infants. So leaky gut is a normal response in infants, but when it occurs after foods have been introduced, it can cause some problems. So this is because if the gut's still leaky, then these big foreign food proteins are getting absorbed into the bloodstream that an infant's immune system has never seen before. And what does the immune system do to something it's never seen before? It attacks it, because that's what it's supposed to do. Anything it's foreign, that it's going to attack it to protect the body. So when the immune system gets overactive and starts attacking food proteins, then we get more gut inflammation, so more leaky gut symptoms, and also systemic allergic responses, such as rashes, hives, eczema, persistent diaper rashes, congestion, wheezing and asthma, ear infections, irritability, which is colic in infants, gastrointestinal upset, constipation or diarrhea, and sleeplessness, which affects not only the baby, but mom and dad as well. So these are all common reactions to dairy in children and babies. So the problem that children have with dairy is actually a milk protein allergy, not an allergy from lactose or milk sugar, which is generally known as lactose intolerance. So because this allergy is associated with the protein components of milk, if you buy lactose-free milk, it's not going to solve the problem because the dairy proteins are still there. So there are over 20 proteins in cow's milk that are known human allergens. So this makes dairy number 1 on the list of common food allergies. And another problem with conventional dairy is that the conditions that cows are raised in. Most dairy, especially if not organic, are being treated with antibiotics and hormones and vaccines to keep them alive due to the poor living conditions of these animals. So these chemicals and drugs end up in the milk produced by these animals, which is the last thing that we want our children being exposed to. So as far as alternatives, organic or raw goat milk contains proteins that are closest to human breast milk, so that could be an option. But I told my patient that her baby's 1 year old and she's now eating a variety of foods, so she isn't reliant on just milk for her nutrition any longer. So water will suffice her baby's hydration needs at this point. Also, we don't need, also almond milk, unsweetened almond milk, and coconut milk are really good hypoallergenic options as well, if you wanted to do something else besides water. And we don't need to worry about our kids getting enough calcium because they actually are. We don't need to worry about kids getting enough calcium because, contrary to popular belief, milk is actually a poor source of calcium due to the presence of the dairy proteins, which actually interfere with the calcium absorption. So we're much better off getting our calcium from dark leafy green vegetables, nuts and seeds. And if you could get your kids to love those little seaweed snacks, seaweed happens to be one of the biggest sources of bioavailable calcium. So to recap, dairy is a highly allergenic food and not optimal for babies or children due to the presence of milk proteins as well as the presence of chemicals and toxins within the dairy supply. We are better off using water or any of the other alternatives that I mentioned because at this point, your baby isn't just relying on milk for nutrition. Let's face it, we are just not made to drink the milk of other mammals. Milk is only the perfect food when you are an infant and if it's from your mother. So please share this video if you know of any new moms or moms-to-be who will find this information helpful. I also have some very good resources that I would be happy to share with you regarding this subject. So reach out to me or comment in the comment section below if you have any questions. And take care. I'll see you next week.